Today is Wednesday, Parashat Chayei. So we spoke this week about the idea of Abraham sending his servant to bring a wife for his son Yitzchak, and Eliezer goes and brings Rivka, and the pasuk reads here, "Vayivi'eha Yitzchak ohela Sarah imo," and Yitzchak brought Rivka to the tent of his mother Sarah. Vayikach et Rivka vatei lo leisha, and he took Rivka and she became his wife. He married her, in other words. Vayehaveha, and then he loved her. Vayinahem Yitzchak achare imo, and Yitzchak was consoled after the passing away of his mother. So, a few ideas here in this one verse. That the pasuk reads first, he married her, and then he loved her, came afterwards. And this delivers a very important message that could be some type of love, infatuation that is just temporary. But the true love develops over time. The more you have a chance to give and contribute to your spouse, the more that love can develop. So that's why the order is he married her and he loved her. This is the true love that develops over time. And just like our sages teach us, love is a result of giving. In other words, to the person that you give, when you give, then you love. It's not you love and because you love you give, but rather the other way. The more that you give, the more that you will love. And therefore, the order in the pasuk here is Vayikach vatei lo leisha, she became his wife, Vayehaveha, and then he loved her. That love was a true, stable love, a love that develops over time, and a love that is something that is stable and growing the more that a person has the opportunity to give to each other. But it's actually good advice for couples in general. If there are some issues, don't say, what have you done for me lately, but rather, what have I done for you lately? And if you look for opportunities to give to the spouse, then there will be more love and harmony and a happy couple. So this is an important message from this pasuk. Then Rashi also indicates that when Sarah Imenu was around, there were certain types of miracles that happened in the tent, and when Rivka came back, those same miracles came back. And what were these miracles? Ner daluk me'erev Shabbat le'erev Shabbat. When Sarah Imenu lit a candle of Shabbat on Friday night, it stayed lit all the way until the next Friday, just before Shabbat. Ubracha metzuya ba'isa, and there was special blessing and abundance in the dough. In other words, things lasted longer. Ve'anan kashu ala ohel, and there was a kind of a divine cloud that was on top of the tent of Sarah Imenu. And when Rivka, who was a righteous person, came and married Yitzchak, and she came to the tent of Yitzchak, of Sarah, then those miracles came back again. And what are these miracles? That there was a candle that stayed lit from one Friday to the next Friday. So you could understand it just literally, but there's actually a deep meaning here. Shabbat is a time of spiritual inspiration. And the 6 days of the week are days that we're involved in mundane activities, in work, in all sorts of things that call for our attention in terms of material pursuits, etc. When a candle of Shabbat stays lit until the next Friday, until the next Shabbat, it means that the inspiration of Shabbat, the spirituality of Shabbat, is taken and carried into the whole week that comes afterwards until the next Shabbat. That's why in Birkat Hamazon we say on Shabbat that we should merit that a day that will be all day will be Shabbat. In other words, that inspiration of spirituality of Shabbat, we should carry it with it throughout the whole week. And that's what happened when Sarah was there, and that's what happened when Rivka came back. The involvement in the workaday week from Sunday to Friday was still imbued and inspired by the spirituality of the Shabbat that came before, all the way to the next Shabbat. Then there was Beracha Ba'isa. there was bracha in the dough. In other words, there was things lasted longer. And Isai's dough, we separate the challah from the dough. This is what used to be given to the Kohen. That symbolically represents that whatever Hashem has granted us, that we take some of it already at the beginning and we dedicate it to Him. In Eretz Israel, the farmers, when they harvest their produce or their wheat, they're supposed to give from the first beginning some to the Kohen and some to the Levi, and some was Maaser Sheni. So there is an idea that the more we dedicate the beginning of everything that we have, including making bread from the dough, we separate some for it to go as challah to the Kohen, the more we merit that we have will last longer and will have abundance in quality rather than even in quantity. Sometimes there could be a lot that doesn't last, and even a little that would last for longer. That's the idea of beracha. And Anan Kashur ala oil, there was a divine cloud that was on top of the tent that represents the purity and the sanctity of Jewish family life. And these three mitzvot are the three mitzvot that associated with Sarah, Imenu, with Rivka, and also with our ladies in general. You have the mitzvah of Adlakat Nerot Shabbat, lighting the Shabbat candle. You have the mitzvah of Tarat HaMishpacha, of family purity, and the mitzvah of Afrashat Challah, of separating the challah in making bread. And this was from one of the psukim of the parsha of this week. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.